Hi there. Today I want to sort of carry on a little more about the importance of you, the photographer, over the gear. And I'm going to start that with a little confession. Today I look back at my blog. Yes, I have a blog. My blog was basically my miscellaneous thoughts, my ramblings. I dare not put those two words together because that is the title of a Peter Egan column in Road and Track magazine from years past. But instead, let's just say that it's mostly related to photography. It is sometimes related to life in general. And even though I doubt if anybody actually read it, I was quite proud of it. Because I could go back and review my thoughts from the past, and I think I did a pretty good job of expressing myself. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging here, but I think it was pretty good. Anyhow, I look back now, and what I see is 80 plus videos. And amongst those 80 plus videos, I think there is one actual typed, written blog article. And that was a little discouraging, because I think you'll find that there is a certain, I'm not sure what word to use, there is a longevity applied to the written word. It can be printed out, it can be passed around, it can be kept in a binder, it can exist outside of the electronic medium. Whereas my videos, well, they're videos. They require the electronic medium in order to view them. So I kind of miss that written word, and I intend to get back to it. In fact, I will be writing an article basically that does not paraphrase this video, but hits a lot of the same points. Because being my photography video channel, I do have something to say about photography today. In particular, what I want to talk about today is an important point that somebody brought up in the comments a couple of videos ago. And that is that there seems to be a real fascination with faster and faster lenses these days. Now, you might recall, if you've been looking at my videos, you might recall that I did a video about the bokeh obsession that a lot of people have. The idea that they have to have lenses that will throw the background out of focus because that's the only way that they can make their subject pop. I'm sorry, folks, but it's not the only way. Does it work? Oh, of course it does. But it's not the only way. You don't have to go out and buy ultra expensive lenses that have multiple different exotic glass compounds in them and huge apertures and equally huge price tags just to get a good picture. If you use your head, then you can do things like, for instance, recompose the image so that the background is less cluttered. Change the image so that you're looking from an angle that gives you a cleaner background. Change your distance from the subject so that your slower lens will still throw the background out of focus if that's what you want. Or place your subject, if that's feasible, somewhere where the background is so far away it's going to be out of focus anyway. That, I think, is far more thoughtful, shows far more initiative than simply going out looking for the fastest glass you can find. Now, don't get me wrong. I shoot Olympus right now and Pentax. Olympus has a new range of professional lenses that are very fast lenses. They're f1.2 primes. And those f1.2 primes include basically the holy trinity that I spoke of in an earlier video. You have, now you can correct me if I'm wrong on the focal lengths here. I believe what we have is a 12mm f1.2. We have a 25mm f1.2, and we have a 42.5, I believe, millimeter f1.2. That's the Holy Trinity. That's your 24mm, your 50mm, and your 85 millimeter. There you go. If you can afford those lenses and you are getting into this system and you want professional quality lenses, because they are, then by all means indulge yourself. But if you're in a system where you already have a pretty decent 50 millimeter f1.7 or 1.8, you already have an 85 millimeter f1.8, you already have a 24 millimeter or f2.8, then stop and think for a minute. First of all, 24 millimeters, even if you go with the fastest glass available, it will give you a little more low light capability, but it's still not going to make you really shallow depth of field because of the short focal length. The 85 millimeter, let's say you go and you're a Canon shooter and you just go get yourself an 85 millimeter f1.2. Well, you better make sure that you are spot on with your focus, because at normal headshot distances, if you get the eye in focus, the rest of the face is going to be out. So if you miss that eye, you're going to end up with a mess instead of a picture. So there are drawbacks to this. I mean, it's not just, oh, faster lenses give me shallow depth of field and low light capability. There are some drawbacks as well. It's going to give a real hit to your wallet because they're far more expensive. And it's going to mean that every little flaw in your technique is now going to show up. So you better be pretty darn accurate. Meanwhile, most of the people who have these lenses don't go around shooting them wide open all the time anyway. Now, they will make the argument that an f1.2 lens is sharper at f4 than an f2 lens is at f4. I think we're really splitting hairs here. I think the actual difference is only going to be seen if you are an extreme pixel peeper. And let's face it, folks, nowadays pixel peeping is pretty much passé. We already know that any camera with more than 12 megapixels is going to give you a great image, and that any decent lens is going to be sharp these days. Really, really crappy, awful lenses pretty much don't exist like they used to. The companies that make garbage like that are no longer in business. Even the really low-cost stuff that's now coming out of China is better quality than most of the kit lenses from 20 years ago. So, my advice to you, if you've got the money and you really want those lenses, by all means get them. But don't feel that having those lenses will make you a better photographer. They may allow you to do things you couldn't do before. But remember that the most important component in photography is a couple of centimeters behind that spot right there. Because it's your brain, your thoughts, your ideas, your imagination, and your technical skills that are going to get great pictures. And the best way to develop those is practice, practice, practice. I can't remember who made this quote now, and this is not an exact quote, but basically it says that good photography comes from practice, not purchase. So you can't buy your way into good photography. You can buy a camera that can take care of all the technical issues for you, but it's still not going to compose your images for you. Now, I know some of the cell phone manufacturers and some of the newest pieces of software and apps try to do that. They try to compose your image for you. But all that means is you're going to have robotic images, because let's face it, you now are letting a robot decide what you want it to do. Anyhow, folks, I think I'm going to sit here and finish my coffee. This video today is just kind of an addendum to the last one. I still haven't shown the examples that I wanted to show from the last video of contrast. I will get to that later. This was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing, basically brought on by the fact that modern camera companies are now trying to sell you things. Now, you can't blame them. They have to sell things to stay in business. But they are really leaving a false impression with so many people. And that false impression is that better gear is going to make you a better photographer. And I tell you, with my experience, what I found is every time I upgraded to a better camera, my pictures got worse for a while. Because now I had to learn this new camera. Once I learned the camera, then I was okay. Meanwhile, another thing that irks me lately is the fact that focus-by-wire lenses, especially those that have no way of telling distance, they have no distance scale, they have no end stops, they are probably my biggest complaint about my mirrorless cameras. Right now, I may or may not be in focus, because right now this video is being shot through an old Reconon 50mm f2 lens adapted to a Panasonic Lumix camera, an older one. And what that means is that it's manually focused. Hopefully I got the focus right. I have my little stand-in right here, my crappy cheap tripod who sits in the chair and I focus on. So hopefully he's the right distance, that I got it right. But the nice thing is, I know it's not going to do anything weird, and I know that it is at least focused at some distance. If I move in or out, maybe I'll go out of focus, but I know there is a plane of focus. When I take out my mirrorless gear at night, especially, and I want to do things like sky shots or things like that, it's very difficult to focus. Basically what I have to do is autofocus on the furthest object that the camera can still make out, and then turn off the autofocus. Because if I don't, I'm going to end up unable to focus manually, for the simple reason that the display, even when I turn on peaking and magnification, is not going to show me clearly enough what it's focused on. And that focus ring will just spin around and around and around and around and around in either direction. There are no stops. I applaud companies like Olympus that, at least on their high-end lenses, have put in this collar that when you pull it back, it gives you an actual focus scale that will actually set the distance. It's still focused by wire, but this time it's programmed to follow your instructions, and it does have end stops. But that is a complaint I have. Focus by wire. My Pentax is so much better suited for really bad low light situations, because I can guesstimate the distance, I can set it on the lens barrel, and I can be pretty assured that I'm in decent focus range. Well guys, 2 topics today. And again, I noticed that lately I've been pointing out that for each of my videos there should be some takeaway. There should be something I hope you got from it. And the takeaway today is, if you want the ultra-fast, ultra-expensive lenses, remember they do come at a penalty of cost and technique. You have to be extremely accurate with your focus if you're going to use these things wide open. And of course the cost is very high in both weight and price, because they are going to be bigger, heavier lenses. Secondly is this idea of focus by wire. Focus by wire is here to stay. I understand that. I know it's not going to go away. I know that's the way things are going to be from now on. But I do wish manufacturers would put in something like what Olympus has done, and I'm sure there are others that are also doing this. So please don't correct me by saying, oh, you said only Olympus does it. Olympus is the only one that I am aware of right now. That's because of my limited accessibility to other camera brands. In this room right here, I have Pentax, Olympus, and Panasonic, which are the same, and there's an old Fuji with a Nikon mount. That's all the digital interchangeable lens cameras that are found on the premises. So that's the only things I know anything about. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, give me a like. If you want to see more of these videos, then of course subscribe to my channel, and if there is anything in this video that you feel is worthy of sharing with others, then by all means share it. Well, I think I'm going to finish my coffee. Bye for now.